Hey all, it's the RC Nitro nerds here for another edition of RC Nitro for Dummies. And this is part 2 of how to maintain your Nitro vehicle. I certainly urge you to watch part 1. And the thing that I want to stress, and I'll probably do so in this video, but the thing that I want to stress is all the activities, everything that I'm showing you today or that I'm talking about, I will have a separate video that details each of these if there's not already one out there. So please do a search on my channel for you know, how to clean bearings or how to do a deep clean or how to test your servos, all that good stuff, because I promise you, depending on when you're watching this, within the next month or so, I will have a video that explains in detail each of these steps. And as you know, my channel is really geared toward newcomers to the hobby. So I try to, if I can, explain it in a way that you all understand, especially those, as I just mentioned, that are new to the hobby. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this part 2 of the video, and have a great day. After every 5 runs, that's when you want to give it a deep clean. And as I mentioned earlier, I do have a video on how to deep clean your Nitro car, but definitely after every 5 runs, give it a deep clean. Now, with respect to the engine, you really only want to clean that if you feel it needs it. So if you're out in very dusty conditions, or something happened to where you think, okay, I really need to get in and inspect the engine, then feel free to do it at that time. But at an absolute minimum, I would certainly recommend taking out the glow plug and first, though, spray it with some compressed air around the cooling head. Take out the glow plug and spray around with some sort of contact cleaner, because there's a lot of gunk that builds up, and eventually it will prevent you from being able to start your vehicle. So, as mentioned, clean it from top to bottom. And if you don't want to mess with the engine at that point, just make sure you clean your glow plug. Gear mesh is another important thing to check, at least after every 5 runs. I know there's a whole lot of different hypotheses out there on how to set the gear mesh. I like to keep it pretty simple. Really, go with your eyes and your ears. It's not that difficult. You're simply wanting to ensure that your pinion gear, which is this right here that comes off of the clutch belt, so it's the smaller one right here, is nicely engaged with the bigger gear, which is called the spur gear. All you need to make sure of is that there's a little bit of play. So the best way to do it is just to hold your spur gear, move the pinion gear, and you should hear a little bit of a tick. There should just be a little bit of a tick, tick, tick as you move it back and forth. That's that little bit of play that you want. Other than that, you hear about the paper trick and all this other stuff, but common sense has to kick in, and just, if it looks right and it sounds right, then it's not rocket science. So definitely want to make sure that you check your gear mesh. Additionally, after every 5 runs, you want to check your fuel lines. This is one of the things that I feel, at least, is most overlooked by folks. And your fuel lines can become kinked. You can see I don't have any kinks, or they can be punctured or become loose or anything like that. So just give it a little bit of an inspection, and if you feel they need to be replaced, then that's the time to replace them. The final thing that I would recommend to do after every 5 runs is to rotate your tires. You can see here I'm missing some tread here versus right here, or here, or here. But it's not too bad. So what I do is I'll rotate the tires every 5 runs to give it even wear. Now, after every 10 runs, what you want to do is begin to think about the electronics. So I would first start with the batteries. At this point, unless you're using some rechargeable batteries, I would certainly look at replacing the batteries. I have learned that the receiver, the batteries for the receiver, which is that little small piece that accepts the signal from the transmitter, I have learned that the batteries for the receiver tend to use a lot more power than the actual transmitter itself. At the same time, I've learned to save your sanity, change them at the same time, because if you don't, then what happens is something's not really working and you're having a hard time figuring out, okay, is it my transmitter, is it the batteries, is it the receiver, is it receiver batteries, whatever. So what I like to do is just pretty much after every 10 runs, which is probably, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to an hour run time, I'll just go ahead and change the batteries, and I'll save them for other things around the house that I might need it for. But the thing you don't want is to have it sneak up on you and suddenly stop working. The other part is the servos. This is definitely a good opportunity to go and check the servos. Just with the car off, or excuse me, with the engine off at least, turn the car on and just make sure that everything is working smoothly. So make sure that the servo, the gears on there are not stripped. Everything is smooth. You can tell if it's stripped and how it's reacting to the servo horns on there. So never hurts also to go ahead and just take them off and inspect the actual metal gears themselves. The other thing that you want to do after every 10 runs is clean your bearings. Now this is something that can seem a little bit of intimidating, but again, do not be intimidated by any of this. I'm not a professional. I'm someone just like you, and I promise you I'm going to have videos on each of these different steps to show you in detail what you need to do. But the one thing you'll definitely want to do after every 10 runs is at least check your wheel bearings. And every model is different on how to do it. I will make a video showing how to do it on the OFNA and the Losi 810. But the whole idea is the bearings are what keeps things smooth. So take them out, clean them, and I promise you, you will see a definite world of difference. In fact, I just cleaned the bearings on this today. And while you're in there checking the bearings, the other thing that you want to check for after every 10 runs is to clean your dog bones, your universals, and your drive cups. So today when I was cleaning the bearings, I was absolutely shocked at how much gunk had accumulated on within the drive cups and the dog bones and whatnot. Again, there are certain parts that you simply can't clean unless you take them apart. So, wow. Especially on the rear here, I was just astonished at how much stuff I was able to get out and clean, which of course made me feel great. But again, don't let any of this intimidate you. I will walk you guys through, in another video, I'll walk you through all of the different things that you want to do.